How do we open this? What do we say? Welcome
Welcome,
everyone to
wel-
the
welcome to the week 6
yep recap, right?
recap.
So welcome everyone to the week 6 fantasy recap. Um, who cares? Who cares? Football's stupid. Yeah. Do we even like football? We do. Oh, okay. I guess we still like football. But he's not jaded enough yet. He's had too much success in his life. The Bills have made the playoffs, have won 10 plus games every year of his existence. He doesn't know what it's like to truly suffer. I don't know what's worse. I don't know if it's, we have Super Bowl expectations and the AFC is completely up for grabs to be the number one overall seed this year. And we just S the bed, or if it was worse during the drought years where just mediocrity every single year. I don't know. Right now, I miss Sunday 1 o'clock every Sunday, knowing that we're going to be 7-9, and the Patriots winning everything was inevitable. Um, I don't know. Maybe I missed that. I don't know. Football. Oh, football. So talking about real football, real quickly, last night was not good. Um, yeah, define complementary football. If you look it up in the dictionary, the Bills will not ever example of it. We can never put all the faces together. The defense was just absolutely atrocious in the first half. Couldn't do anything, and then in the second half, the defense was actually fine. It was decent. Got stops. They even got a special teams block on a field goal, and then the offense just couldn't do anything. And I read this last night that Josh was blitzed ton of the time, the highest percentage he's seen since 2001 or 2021. But the Falcons are the highest blitzing team in football. It should have been expected. This everybody eats thing to really lose my patience with. Everybody eats works when everybody is when the offense is flowing and everything's going well. But sometimes you need a dog out there, and we need that A+ receiver that is going to go out and get separation and everything. Plus the injuries last night, it was the Bills aren't going to win a game for a month because we last won week 4, September 28th. We lost the first week of October. We lost the second week of October. We're on a bye this week. Best case scenario, we're going to win one game this month. Football. So frustrating. I'm going to turn that light down. That's better. So yeah, that's real football for me. JJ, congrats. The Pats are technically in first place right now. I know you're super pumped about barely beating the Saints by one score. So Super Bowl for you guys. Let's see who else. Giants fans. We talked about it kind of on last week's recap, but Giants fans, you guys are obviously at a high right now with JD and Scattaboo, and Giants fans are definitely feeling good at the moment. Jets. That was. I mean, I had no leg to stand on because we were terrible last night, but that was absolutely atrocious football on offensive football on Sunday morning. I mean, your defense actually showed up, played pretty decently, but that might have been some of the worst offensive football I've ever seen in my entire life. That end of the half sequence was just baffling in every regard. I saw somebody post because obviously the Jets played I think a night game followed by the London game. And he's like, can we just go back to playing at 1 o'clock and losing in peace instead of having everybody watching us and judging us? So there's that. Dolphins, for the fourth week in a row, have lost on basically on a last possession game. I don't know if Tua's contract is movable at the end of the year. They might be stuck with him for another year or two, but Daniel and I'm starting to think that Chris Greer must he must have some dirt on the whole Brian Flores situation, because the way that man still has a job is baffling to me. He's been the Dolphins GM for, I think, 17 years now, and they have not won a single playoff game. They've won 0 playoff games with him in charge. And he still has a job. A lot of the Twitterverse, says that he obviously was probably told during the Brian Flores era to lose games and tank and all the stuff that was rumored in the Flores lawsuit. So everyone says his job is safe until the Flores lawsuit is done. Speaking of Flores, if things keep going the way they're going for the Bills right now, bring him in. Bring him in. Make him the head coach. I don't care. We need something. Is that everybody's teams?
Mm.
Giants, Dolphins, Jets, Bills, Pats. I think we got them all. So that's real football. Thank God the Bills are on a bye this week and we can't lose. So, whatever. Football, except for Will's flag football. Football's stupid. Speaking of flag football, big matchup this week. You guys all know Aaron in the league. He's not in the league this year, but he's still in this chat and everything. He'll be back next year. Will's team is playing Braden's team this week in the big flag football matchup. And we'll see. You going to tackle Braden?
Yeah.
Tackle him for real, though. Don't just pull his flag. Just actually tackle him, okay?
That would be a foul.
That would be a foul, okay.
Or maybe I can just tackle him out of bounds.
Oh, yeah? Maybe tackle him out of bounds?
Or like,
you can put a little shove?
Yeah, to get out of bounds.
So, big Arlington versus Hyde Park game this week in flag. So, me and Aaron will be there tailgating. I believe Zach is going to be there as well. We're just talking to Justin this morning about seeing if we can get his butt there. But the big matchup. All right, let's talk about fantasy. Speaking of Justin, normally this would be enough for last place, but we'll talk about Paul later. But Justin's team did not show up at all this week, which is good because my team barely showed up this week. I win 113-73 against Justin. For Justin, Knicks didn't do much. We talked briefly about that Broncos-Jets game. Ken Walker did nothing. Javonte did nothing. Debo did nothing. Keenan Allen did nothing. Theo did nothing. Harrison did nothing and got hurt. He started a kicker that didn't play. That's just not ideal management for him. For him, really, Jameson Williams is the only player. This is the only player that even showed up and did. I'm pretty sure, looking at this real quick, Jameson Williams is the only player on his team who went over his projection. So, yeah, that's a bad week. You take the mulligan there. He had he's got Vidal on the bench, so 22.8 points there. So the nice thing for him is he's got another usable running back. The last thing he needed was another usable running back. He's got Bucky Irving, Ken Walker, Jameson Williams, or Javonte Williams. He's got running backs. So Justin's team will be fine, but he falls to 3-3. For me, as you saw, Josh didn't do anything last night, but I got good games out of McCaffrey. Really, that's it. I didn't have a good game either. McCaffrey did well. And then I got Rams defense and kind of Kelsey were really my only other producers. Now, I had Kayshon Boutte on my bench in 3 different leagues, scored 26.3 points. I had Bam Knight on the bench. So we'll see. I had to pivot last night when they announced Kincaid was out and put in Dawson Knox. Thankfully, he only had 1 catch, but at least that 1 catch was a touchdown, so he got me 9 points. Unimpressive game from me, but it was enough to get the W. All right, moving on. We've got Larry with 147.96 to Delano's 123.24. Both those teams are now 4-2. For Larry, I haven't looked ahead at the scores, but I'm guessing 147's got a good chance of being the high score of the week. Baker had a nice game. Josh Jacobs had a monster game. There you go right there. both of his running backs go over 30 points. When you do that, you're probably going to win. So 32 for Jacobs, 31 for Scatterbo. St. Brown actually didn't have much of a game. Did have enough catches though to win our bet. So my bet hit in the bet. Waddle with a nice game. Ferguson scored a touchdown. So good games for Larry across the board. For Delano, still early. Haven't finished my coffee yet. Drake May had a nice game. He had a monster game out of George Pickens. Tyler Warren continues to be good. And then his bench, damn. He had Hollywood Brown, Goddard, and Jackson Dart, all with big games on the bench. So for Delano, 147, 123. He falls to 4-2. Larry improves to 4-2. We'll talk about standings later. Looks like right now, if the season ended today, we have 6 4-2 teams. So that's your 6 playoff teams. And if the season ended today, I believe Larry is the number 1 seed from what I saw in the chat this morning. Moving on. What does that say? What does that say? Whose team is that? Rich? And who's that?
Marcel.
Richie beat Marcel? Richie beat Marcel? What? After all that smack talk last week after beating the professor, Marcel turns around and loses to the 0-5 team. Can you believe that? What do you think? We got to make Eli a Bills fan after that, right?
Yeah.
Next, we have no leg to stand on right now the way the Bills are playing. Actually, Giants fans are pretty excited about real football at the moment. All right, moving on. Richie with the 120-108 victory for against Marcel. So whatever Marcel did last week, all those chips came tumbling down this week. Nothing out of Sutton. Chase Brown actually had a better game than he's been having. And Henry actually had a better game than he's been having. But no touchdowns. Losing Emeka Abuyaw. That's how you say his name, right? Abuka, that's right. Losing Emeka, and it looks like he's going to be out for a couple weeks. Hurts.
Finally started the Steelers defense.
Yeah. Let's see. For Richie, Jaden Daniels had a nice game last night. Brian Thomas finally came through and played like the number 1 pick that he is. Olave had a nice game. Future Buffalo Bill, Chris Olave. What do you think? Should we trade for him and Shaheed? I think we should.
Yeah.
Harold Fannin played well. So Richie scores $120. And for Marcel, Dak was good. Metcalf was good. That's Raiders defense actually played extremely well for him. But that's about it. Henry underperformed. Even though he had 122 yards, just you expect him to get an end zone. Sutton, Dunze, you got nothing at the receiver position, which is something I can empathize with since I've been getting nothing out of my receiver position as well. So Richie improves to 1-5. He's off the schneid, and then Marcel joins us in that group of 4-2 teams. All right, go ahead. All right, so Ken, I have beef with you, Ken. You barely cracked 100 this week. Last week you put up 150 on me. Like, seriously? Like, you couldn't do this last week? For real?
Wait, how did Courtney beat Ken?
Yeah, after Ken beat me last week. And now Courtney wins. Can you believe this? I think this is 2 wins in a row for Courtney. Yeah, actually it is. Yeah, Courtney on a winning streak. How about that? Good for you, Courtney. Courtney's riding the hot hand. Rico Dowdle, back-to-back 200-yard games for Rico. Back-to-back 30-point fantasy games for Rico. So Jalen Hurts had a nice game fantasy-wise. Rico scores 33.9. A.J. Brown scores 14. Luke McCaffrey scored a touchdown last night. He scored a touchdown, I think, 3 weeks in a row. Ravens defense didn't score negative points for only the second time this year. He continues to ride them. Holy cow, look who he's got on the bench.
What?
Courtney, are you aware that you benched Drake London, who scored 32 points last night? I don't understand fantasy football sometimes. Like, you started Eric Ao Manor and Luke McCaffrey and Jaden Blue, who scored 0 over Drake London. So you won again. But, man, that's bad. You probably could have won $25 this week if you just started London. All right, anyway. After Justin Fields put up 26 points on me in fantasy last week, he scores 4.9 this week. Pacheco, nothing. Montgomery, nothing. Nice games out of Chase and JSN like he got last week, but and McBride had a nice game, but that was pretty much it for him.
He got hurt.
Who got hurt? Yeah, Ridley got hurt in the game. That's why didn't produce. Courtney improves to 2-4, and Ken falls to 2-4. Moving on. The professor back on the winning streak. He gets the win over Danny. So my brother-in-law against my possible future brother-in-law, and Shane, being the already brother-in-law, comes through with the victory. So 134 to 103 for Shane. Mahomes had a big game. Genty got a touchdown. Let's see. Rashard Whitey continues to ride that hot hand. We talked about how bad the Jets' offense was. Broncos' defense scores 17, and then got 17 out of the kicker position.
Only 1 point of the Bills D.
Yeah, that's not ideal, right?
Right.
And then for Danny, Bijan certainly scored some points last night, 35.8. But then he got nothing out of James Cook, unfortunately. Zay didn't produce this week. Pittman didn't produce this week. Andrews didn't produce. Stevenson didn't produce. Basically, you got Wan'Dale Robinson and Bijan accounted for most of his points there. So Shane is in that grouping with the rest of us at 4-2, and then Danny falls into that 3-3 grouping. All right, Paul.
This is Paul.
Bruh. After Liam did that army crawling, we got to step up. I know you're hurt. I know you got injuries. Okay, but you got to do something here. You started a defense and a bye. Let's see. We got an injured quarterback, an injured running back, a running back who doesn't play, and then you lost Puka in the game as well. So I understand you're hurting, but you need to work that waiver wire. And then his bench was bye, and injured. I mean, really, there's no need for you to have Godwin or Ayuk. And also, you have an IR. You have 2 IR spots. Move some guys to IR and start putting some guys in this lineup. I mean, you started off 3-0, and now you're 3-3. So JJ could have scored 50 points this week. He still would have got the win. JJ scores 121. Caleb Williams had a nice game last night, fantasy-wise. And actually, they pulled off the victory as well. A-Chain, who I have in a lot of leagues, produced for me, got 31 points. And then Kendrick Bourne, that was really all he had produced for him. But like I said, when Paul scores 46.9 points, you're going to win. So Paul obviously owes us all $5 this week. And then moving on to the final game, Marissa joins us in the 4-2 club. Actually, let's talk about that real quick. JJ improves to 2-4. Paul falls to 3-3. And then in the final game, Marissa joins us in the 4-2 club. Kyle falls to 2-4. 139.48 for Marissa to 99.26 for Kyle. For Kyle, I didn't get anything out of Gibbs. You got a nice game out of Taylor. And Tet McMillan had 2 touchdowns, and that was really it. And then for Marissa, Lads finally started to turn it up. Let's see. Laporta scored a touchdown. DeAndre Swift had a beast game last night. That touchdown was impressive. Indiana Jones with a 22.5-point performance for her, and Kyron scored a touchdown. So for Marissa, she got pretty consistent production across the board. That would be enough to probably win the $25 on certain weeks, but just double checking. I believe it was Larry. Yep, Larry's going to have the high score for the week at 147. Paul's obviously going to have the low score. All right, let's take a quick look at those standings. Like I said, at 4-2, it goes Larry, Marcel, Shane, me, Delano, Marissa. And you're talking Larry's got a 22-point lead over Marcel, who has a Let's see, 32-point lead on Shane, who has a 5-point lead on me, who I have a looks like 33-point lead on. No, 27-point lead on Delano, who has a 23-point lead on Marissa. So there's your bunch up right there at 4-2. Right now, if the playoffs ended, those 6 teams are in, with Larry and Marcel getting the byes. Moving on to the 3-3 teams, you got Justin, Danny, Paul. If I had to pick one of those 3-3 teams to be in it right now, I'd say it's probably Justin's. I still like his team. But we'll see. The 4-2 team, somebody's got to stumble. I mean, I don't think my team's playing particularly well. I'm getting nothing out of the wide receiver position, so that would not shock me in any way, shape, or form. And then at 2 and 4, you got Kyle and Ken and JJ and Courtney. Props to you, Courtney. Back-to-back wins, even if you continue to mismanage your team. I saw he won in I think it was Ken's league as well this week, and he started like a tight end that was on a bye or something, and drives me nuts. All right, anyway, and then Richie got off the schneid. He's at 1 and 5. So we have no winless teams now in the league. And if the season ended today, Richie, we're shooting you with paintballs. All right, let's look at these stupid power rankings since they're probably not going to be what I want them to be. The professor moves from 1 back to 2. JJ moves from 2 back to 14. Oof. Paul moves from 3 back to 9. CDs. Who's CDs? I don't remember.
That's Marissa.
Oh, yeah, that's Marissa. You're right. Marissa moves from 4 back to 6. I stay at 5. Keo moves from 6 back to 7. Kyle moves from 7 back to 11. Danny stays at 8. Delano moves from 9 up to 3. Kyle stays at 10. Ken stays at 10. Richie moves from 11 to 12. Courtney moves from 12 to 13. Larry moves from 13 up to 1. And then Marcel moves from 14 up to 4. Real quick, let's address the bet. For those of you in the know, we had 2 bets this week because we continue to... Well, you got to... Let me get my face in here. There you go. We continue to sillily bet Jets bets that never hit. And so Marcel stepped up and said, you know what? We're doing another one. Because we bet Cortland Sutton, Justin Fields, and Garrett Wilson in the early game, and we went with that. None of them hit, and Marcel volunteered $5 of his own money to say, hey, no, we're doing another one. And then, unfortunately, one of the bets he picked was Torrey Horton, and that didn't hit. So let's see. We ended up hitting, 1, 2, 3, 4. We missed on 4. We went 10 for 14. We didn't hit on Torrey Horton. We ended up missing on Rashard White receptions, which was a Shane bet. We missed on the Buffalo Bills money line, which was a Paul bet. And then we missed on Stephon Diggs receptions, which was a JJ bet. So, Amon Ra hit, Jacobs hit, Genty hit, Jalen Warren hit, Kyron Williams hit, Dak hit, James Cook hit, Brian Thomas hit, and JSN hit. So 10 for 14. Not terrible, but we got to go 14 for 14 to win one of these bets. All right. Any last words? Any sign off? You got nothing? All right. Say be good.
No.
Do good.
No.
God bless.
No.
And go Bells.
No.